Have you noticed that spirituality feels louder than ever, yet somehow it's less grounding than it used to be? There's more content, more teachers, more methods, more courses, more opinions. But yet, a lot of people are feeling confused. They're tired, they're exhausted, or quietly disillusioned. Not because they've done anything wrong, but because something in the way spirituality is being lived, taught, and consumed, it's no longer landing. Welcome to No Fluff Spirituality. I'm Bascha Meier, and this is exactly the kind of grounded conversation we'll be having here today. Before we go any further, though, let me say this quite clearly. This conversation and the entire podcast channel is not about dismissing faith. It's not anti-religion. It's not anti any spiritual practice. And it's definitely not about saying that one belief system is right and the other is wrong. Whether you experience God as the Lord, as nature, as Christ consciousness, as universal intelligence, as source, as inner knowing, or you simply don't use that language at all, you are welcome here. What this is about in honesty and maturity, that's what it's about. And asking whether the way spirituality is currently packaged and practiced is actually helping people become more grounded, more whole, more embodied, or it's quietly pulling them further away from themselves. Here's my stance on all of this, and I'll say it quite gently. Spirituality isn't broken, but it is misunderstood. And in many spaces, it's become externalized. What do I really mean by this? So basically, instead of strengthening our own inner authority and outer authority, our sense of discernment and self-trust, which is all inherent within us. A lot of modern spirituality teaches people, subtly or overtly, to keep looking outside of themselves. And what are they actually looking for? Often it's for answers, guidance, of course, for validation, for that certainty, for someone to take that decision off them. Perhaps for permission, for affirmation. And for this, the market's rife. There are more tools, more rituals, more teachings, more someone else knows better. And again, tools themselves aren't the issue. Prayer isn't the problem. Guides, angels, teachers, mentors, none of that is the issue. The issue is dependency without integration. And that's what I want to lean into. When spirituality doesn't lead you home to yourself, it's not like an unraveling of a mystery or deconditioning process. When it bypasses your body, your intuition, your lived experience, then it can actually fragment rather than stabilize. And I've witnessed this very many times. And many people are feeling that now. It seems to be the new era is really bringing this up to be seen. And even if many can't quite name it, but there's this sense or this feeling that's welling up within people. I myself have been immersed in spiritual spaces for decades. I've worked with people who are deeply faithful, people who are highly intuitive, neurodiverse, superpowered people, people who have tried everything. So every modality, every form of teaching, every practice, what I've consistently observed is this, that the people who truly thrive in life and business and relationships aren't the ones chasing the next spiritual upgrade. They're the ones who've learned how to be with themselves. They've integrated what they know, and they've taken their time, because there's not often a set timeline. It's not linear. But they've taken the time to sit in the uncomfortable, in the unknown, in the void, in the darkness, and really look at it. They've slowed down enough to listen inwardly. They've developed discernment, I find, rather than outsourcing it. They're not perfect people. They're not high vibe people. They're grounded people. And in my viewpoint, that distinction matters more now than ever. So here's the reframe that I want to offer today. The new era of spirituality, it's not about more information or doing more or more certificates to line the walls or overcoursing. It's about integration, cohesion. It's not about ascending out of the human experience necessarily. It's about inhabiting it fully. It's about recognizing that whatever you call God, source, spirit, or higher intelligence, it doesn't replace your own inner knowing. Rather, it meets it. Mature spirituality actually strengthens your agency and your signal. I'll be speaking more on agency and signal in the next podcast episodes. What it does is mature spirituality that strengthens your agency. What it does, it doesn't weaken it. It invites relationship, not that hierarchy. What it does, it really allows connection, that deep, authentic connection to flourish. So much that performance or spiritual performance or ego performance simply falls away. It no longer has a place. And when spirituality becomes embodied, not just understood, for sure, life starts to feel quieter, cleaner, more honest, more real and authentic. Not easier. We're here in this lifetime to also face challenges, but more real. So if you've ever felt like spirituality wasn't quite working for you anymore, or that something felt off but you couldn't explain why, this podcast channel is a space to explore that without judgment. No fluff, no dogma, no pressure to believe anything. Just grounded conversations about life, business, energy, and what it actually means to live with integrity in changing times. I'll say that again. What it actually means to live and thrive with integrity in changing times. And in the next episode, I'm super excited to be creating the next few episodes as they drop into my consciousness. I'll be talking about energy and frequency without the woo, and why understanding this doesn't require abandoning your beliefs or your common sense. This is No Fluff Spirituality, business, life and spirit for the new era, grounded, clear and real. I'm Bascha Meier, and if this resonated, stay with me.